Welcome to the 700 Club. Democrats and some of the media say President Trump is soft on Russia, but the U.S. ambassador to the UN tells CBN News that's not true. Nikki Haley says the administration doesn't trust Russia or Vladimir Putin.
She also talked about the White House's strong support for Israel and how it's beginning to pay off at the United Nations. Here's David Brody's interview with the UN ambassador.
When it comes to supporting Israel, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a bigger defender than Nikki Haley. Her passion was on display Monday evening in front of the influential evangelical group Christians United for Israel.
Let me tell you, it's a new day at the UN. From now on, every country knows that the United States will not just block anti-Israel measures, we will shine a light on those who are responsible. There won't be any more free passes for those who bully Israel at the UN.
Haley's time at the UN has been marked by a full-throttle defense of Israel. In an interview with CBN News, she expressed excitement to see that the hard work is beginning to pay off as skeptical UN members begin to see the anti-Israel terrorist group Hamas for what it is.
The idea that we could get the majority of the General Assembly for the first time to even acknowledge that Hamas is an issue was a fantastic win.
Haley also sees a winning team in the support evangelicals have shown Israel for decades.
When you look at the anti-Semitism, you look at all of the harassment that they're getting around the world, you do feel for them because you know these are good people trying to live a good life that are in a dangerous region. And I think that Christians United, they see that for what it is.
She's also calling out certain United Nations bodies and their questionable decisions.
The Human Rights Council is a farce.
She got the U.S. to pull out, calling it full of hypocrisy.
What we've said is you've got serious human rights abuses, whether it's in Venezuela, whether it's in Iran where they're protesting their regime, whether it's in Nicaragua, and they're doing nothing about it.
The phrase doing nothing is not in Ambassador Haley's vocabulary.
Since day one, you've gone in there to shake things up. How tough has that been?
Every day I put on body armor because I know there's going to be a fight. I'm just fighting a different thing every day.
Often on that daily agenda, Iran, Russia, and dealing with North Korea.
Do you think they understand the message that what denuclearization means to the United States?
I think that North Korea understands the message. They just don't like to hear it. We're not going to loosen sanctions. We're not going to do congratulatory statements until we see actions to stand by their words that they're going to denuclearize. And I think they've got some soul searching to do.
On the Russia front, she's okay with President Trump talking to Vladimir Putin, even in private, despite some of the criticism.
He did that with Kim. He's done it with other leaders. He did it with President Xi of China, and that's just his way. He feels like he can get more out of them if he goes one-on-one like that. It's his style. It's the way he does it. You can't get to the end of the other side if you don't have those conversations.
Despite the appearance of friendly talking with Russia, she makes one thing perfectly clear.
We don't trust Russia. We don't trust Putin. We never will. They're never going to be our friend. That's just a fact.
Iran fits that category as well, especially after its president, Hassan Rouhani, warns Americans that a war with Iran would be the mother of all wars.
Iran has made or has received their legitimacy by rhetoric. It has the Europeans and everyone that was involved in the Iran deal scared of what they might do. We don't fall for that.
The world is indeed a dangerous place, and it has Nikki Haley keeping the faith.
We just have to keep doing our part, and we have to make sure that we're being true to ourselves, true to our values, true to what we believe in, and not compromise on that. And I have faith it's all going to work out in the end.
David Brody, CBN News, Washington.
In other news, there may be new evidence that North Korea is taking steps to keep its pledge to get rid of its nuclear weapons. John Jessup has more on that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
That's right, Gordon. An American research group says satellite images show North Korea has started dismantling key facilities at its main satellite launch site. The 38 North website says the pictures indicate the North Koreans are taking down a stand for rocket engine tests. The move appears to be a step toward Kim Jong-un's promise to denuclearize after his June summit with President Trump. Some analysts say such activity doesn't diminish Pyongyang's military capabilities or represent a genuine step toward denuclearization. President Trump wants to strip security clearances for some former intelligence officials who've been outspoken criticizing him. The idea came from Republican Senator Rand Paul. One official, former CIA Director John Brennan, was especially harsh last week. After the president met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Helsinki, Brennan tweeted the press conference was, quote, nothing short of treasonous.
I think anyone who's calling basically the president treasonous, which would require the death penalty, is someone that is over the top and not showing the proper judgment.
Paul met with the president Monday, and the White House followed up saying it was considering revoking the clearances because some former officials are using them for political and personal gain. Still, other members of Congress, including the Senate's number 2 Republican John Cornyn, are pushing back against the idea. Well, Israel shot down a Syrian jet fighter today. The Israelis said it had entered the Jewish state's airspace by a little over a mile. The Israeli military shot the jet down with a pair of Patriot missiles. It was the first time Israel took out a Syrian aircraft in 4 years. Syrian forces have been fighting rebels and ISIS fighters near the border with Israel in recent weeks. And a woman praying at the Western Wall Monday was interrupted by a crash that could have been deadly. 79-year-old Daniela Goldberg was praying, as she regularly does, when a 220-pound boulder dislodged from the wall and crashed right by her feet. Instead of panicking, Goldberg says she tried not to let the close call distract her from her prayers. It happened near the Robinson's Arch prayer platform. One archaeologist calls the entire wall a danger zone, warning more stones could fall at any moment. Israel's Antiquities Authority says they're surveying the area for other possible dangers. Gordon, that puts a totally new spin on watch and pray.
It does. It does put that new spin on it. But this is something Israeli authorities have been saying for a long time, that the entire Temple Mount needs to have the structure looked at. But the Muslims won't let them do anything. They claim that it would interfere with the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And hopefully this incident will convince everyone, for the safety of everyone coming to the Temple Mount, we need to have some structural changes. Things need to be looked at. It's been there for Herod's temple, 2,000 years, and that was an Herodian stone coming off the wall of the Temple Mount. So we need to be safe.